I'm Annie Gishuru, and welcome to Uplifting Studios TV, where I bring you inspiring stories, guest interviews, and tips to help you unshackle your self-limiting beliefs. So if you're new here or are returning for this brand new season, be sure to subscribe and also click on the little bell so you get notified every time we post a new episode. Today we meet a woman who champions women to live their best lives through an incredible community she has created. Cate Williams is the founder of a creative women's network called Inspire Collective. From the moment I visited the community Cate has created, I felt right at home. There is a marked difference with the community she has built, and I met with Cate to find out more about her story and the making of the Inspire Collective. Here is Cate's story.
I grew up on a wheat sheep farm in Western Australia in a little town called Geraldton. My parents were really hard workers. My dad was a fifth generation farmer. A little bit older, I left the farm when I was 10, and then we moved to Perth because my dad had an encounter with God, and so we moved, and he went to Bible college. So he left his fifth generation farming life and began a ministry career, and that was really a moment of huge transition for our family. Growing up, I was extremely shy. You know, all my school photos, I'm pictured with my head tilted to the side, and was very self-conscious, found it difficult to make friends because of my extremely introverted, dreamy kind of creative nature. I'd spend lots of time making up imaginary worlds and creating and imagining, and spend a lot of time on my own playing. When I got to school, I loved it, but I was a shy little girl. So one of my very first memories was sitting in year one class, and in year one we had this great music teacher. She was fantastic, so nothing against her, but she put me in the corner of the room because I loved to sing, but I wasn't opening my mouth wide enough, or wasn't doing it properly. So I got ostracised for my shyness, my introversion, was put into the corner of the room at a very young age. It's one of my earliest memories, and it shut me down. It shut down a part of the voice that I had intrinsically. So growing up in high school, I did find it difficult. So I had some good friends, but I think girls can tend to, out of their own insecurities, their own jealousies, get threatened if you seem to have, on the exterior, it all together. And there was this one incident in year 10, I remember being locked in the toilets, and these two girls started throwing soap at me and calling me all sorts of names. And I think, those kinds of experiences stay with you. Remember being teased on multiple occasions by people who you thought were your friends, and then they turned around and, did the opposite. So that's kind of been a bit of a theme in my life through school. And I think that's one of the reasons that I really understand people on the fringes, people who have had it difficult, people who've been ostracised, people who haven't fit in, people whose voices have been shut down, and particularly women. Having a relationship with Jesus is a significant part of my life. He's my anchor. And so everything that I go through, I see him as a necessity. I would not be standing where I am without his love for me, without his enduring mercy. The moments that I have, maybe deviated here or there, or done things that, it's but by the grace of God that I'm here. And so to the extent that he loves me, I love him. And I want to love others the way that I've experienced that love. So if anything, an undercurrent of my life is Jesus is my anchor, and he's a restorer. I've seen him so many times take something that was damaged or broken, take ashes and turn them into something beautiful, which has also been a recurring theme throughout my life and many lives around about me. So I finished high school, got into UWA, doing a BA, and I met my husband, but I didn't know he was going to be my husband at that point. So enter Dave. So I am this shy, kind of introverted person, and Dave is exactly the opposite. Very sanguine, very social, loves going out, and we got into a relationship. We were friends for a long period of time, and then we decided, there might be something in this. So we connected on the basis of our love for God. We connected on the fact that, he knew my mum and dad, and he'd just become a Christian. And so we started talking. We would have these long discussions, long kind of philosophical chats about God and about life, and we were both dreamers. And I think that is what really connected us. We had these huge, grand dreams to really see change in the earth. And so within a year, we were married. Back in 2013, I decided that I'd had a whole heap of songs that I wanted to get out there. I'd been playing the guitar for a while, I'd been singing in churches, but these songs were different. They were journey songs. And I wanted to create an expression through these songs that anyone in any facet of life who needed any kind of encouragement could hook into and could hear, and it would bring some kind of sense of relief and restoration. They didn't have to walk into a church to experience that. They could really experience it putting on their CD player, and then they would just feel this, love and sense of it's going to be okay, just washing over them. What happened during that season was I found myself looking and longing for other creatives who were doing the same thing that I was doing. And I found it a really solitary process. So particularly for women, because the recording industry is quite male dominated. Your producers, your artists, sound engineers. So I was working with men a lot. So I'm like, where are all the girls who are doing birthing creative work? So what happened was, over a period of about 6 months, I started bumping into ex-uni friends, people that I'd once had relationship with, friends from just all walks of life. And something just began to stir in my heart. I need to help these women to bring to fruition the expressions, the creative expressions at that time that are on their lives right now. So I opened my home, and we would gather around. There were about 10 to 12 of us at the time, and I would speak to them about, what's inhibiting you from bringing your blog forth into the world. These songs, we talked a lot about self-belief. We talked about you are good enough. We talked about your voice is a legitimate expression. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. What you have on your life, you need to steward. And I've always been a passionate believer that we have this kind of blueprint in our lives, and it's our responsibility to tap into that blueprint. And so what started as a small seed group in my home, we would eat great food, we would enjoy one another's company, and we'd really just encourage one another to push past the boundaries, those self-limiting beliefs, those kinds of dialogues and narratives that we have, particularly as women, that tell us we can't and we won't, or expectations from others. It grew. And so it outgrew my lounge room. We started meeting at a cafe called the Little Bird Cafe, and these meetings were free, and we'd sit on the floor if there wasn't enough space. Sometimes we'd have up to 150 women cramming in there, And you know, with any kind of thing, I'd invite people to come and speak and share their heart and just kind of go, look, if this is a passion of yours, but you've been sitting quietly on it and you haven't given expression to it, let's look at why. So I'd have other women who had just launched a book, or we'd have singers come and perform for us, and they would share their story of courage and how they would have to overcome those self-limiting beliefs and step out of the boat. And so at one point we had 190 women in a room. We would meet every 3 months. It became something known as the Inspire Collective. And we are now in our 6th year. We have thousands of people online that follow us. We have women who are part of a membership. People can join as a member if they want to really have that connection. I'm not about networking, I'm about connecting women with other women who are wanting to live their dreams. I think we're all born with this blueprint that I've spoken about before, and I allude to it in my book, Destined to Dream. And it's a blueprint that we know that we have somewhere in our lives. There's things that we're meant to do, particularly if you're a dreamer or a creative of any sort. You know that there's a large life that you're meant to live. There's an expression that you have to bring into the earth. On the way there are so many limiting beliefs that you have to battle with. And they're like demons. You have to come face to face with your own demons. Otherwise, you are not going to fulfill your destiny. You are not going to fulfill your potential. So some of the self-limiting beliefs that I've personally had to struggle with is my shyness and my introversion. I feel often like there's two of me that have this wrestle constantly. On the one hand, I'm an intensely private person, but then I'm on this platform. So when people see me on a platform, they're like, wow, she's really confident, you know, she's so outgoing, she must be, you know, really great with friends, have a lot of friends. It's actually, I do have good friends, but you get me in a room by myself, and unless I know you really well, it will be difficult to have a deep conversation unless we talk about something that I'm passionate about, because introverts hate small talk. Another self-limiting belief that I've had to overcome is fear. And fear is a real big one. Fear of others' expectations. I remember the first time I started a Facebook page called Cate Williams and worrying about what other people were going to think of me. I think expectations for men or women, but particularly for women in the society that we live in, are huge. Why are you doing that? How dare you put your name out there? How dare you create a space? What authority, what right do you have? And I think part of my coming to terms with, if I wanted to become all that I was destined to be and encourage other women to become all that they were born to be, then I had to step out of the perception, what are they going to think? Because that's a killer. Comparison I dealt with years ago. I think you really need to run in your own lane. In high school, I would look at myself and compare myself. Now I don't. I'm very comfortable with who I am. But going back to what other people think about you, how you dress, how you groom yourself, whether you're trying to, look good or whatever, I think it's an expression from the inward that comes out. And if people have an opinion about what you dress like, I like to wear shiny sequins. I like to have nice hair, If people have an opinion, then that's their opinion, and that's actually coming out of their own lives. I think one of the big lessons that I'm continuing to learn as I evolve as a person and as I continue to lead women in areas of self-growth and becoming their best is that not everyone's going to understand where you are evolving to. And I think that, we would like to think that people in our journey are there forever, but I don't think that's realistic. And so developing resilience and developing keeping a sweet heart towards people who don't understand where you're evolving to or moving to is really critical, because you can feel judged, you can feel misunderstood, and you can feel like you might be doing something wrong by growing and continuing to grow. My advice would be to find the people that are in the space, in the new space, the people who have the capacity to receive your new growth, to receive new versions of you, because I think we should all be growing constantly. We should all be pushing past boundaries that limit us. And if there are people who have been in your life that you have journeyed with and they don't know how to walk with you anymore, it's okay to release them, because they may come back into your life at another point. You don't know what's going on in their life, but your responsibility is to steward your own life. And I think it comes back to others' expectations. And that's something that I've had constantly over my life. Why are you doing that? You should not be doing that. And as a woman particularly, we need to give each other permission as women to keep pushing forward and to keep growing, and to not make excuses for promotion, not make excuses for favour that you find yourself in, not make excuses for finding yourself in new fields, in new pastures and arenas, because it's okay. And that's one of the big things that I am passionate about, is giving permission and room for women to become all they can be and to reach the heights that they were born to reach.
My message to Cate would be that she would never back down. That she would rise up and just get emotional. Would be to never back down, to rise up and fulfill everything that's in her heart to do. Primarily because I know about people being in the people business, that there are only some people will only hear your voice and be led. Everyone has a voice that they hear, and she is a voice. And never to doubt herself, never to doubt the dream. The dream is never too big. It's only too small. And so I would say to Cate, be the best you by being faithful and true to everything that's in your heart.
There's so much about you that I love and admire. The qualities that you have are outstanding. The giftings that you've been given are outstanding. And I don't want you to ever stop because people don't understand you. I want you to keep pushing through like you've done for these last years. Keep pushing through. Keep letting people see that beautiful, soft and serendipitous Cate. You're quite ethereal in many ways. You flow through life, really, and you let things just wash off you. I think that's an amazing quality that you have. So keep doing that. I'll always be here for you until I go to be with the Lord.
My message of hope to that little girl or that woman who has those self-limiting beliefs, or who can't fit in, or who's bullied, or who doesn't really know how to become all that they're destined to be, is to surround yourself with great people, find like minds, find other people who are wanting to go in the same direction. You know, E.E. Cummings has a quote about finding the courage to grow up and become all you can be, all you were destined to be. And if I could say anything, I think that courage is one of those things that we need to have and to cultivate in our lives, because without it, we're not going to get where we need to get to. So to that little girl in the corner of the class, who was put aside because she wasn't doing the right thing, or the girl who was being bullied, or the woman who is finding it difficult to succeed in her arena, because she's surrounded by a culture that doesn't understand her growth. I would say, be you, be unique, be uniquely who you were born to be. Don't try and fit in, don't compare yourself with anybody else. Don't think that what you have is not enough, because it is. And steward that gift to the best of your ability. Develop it, push past the limitations, and find out who it is you are meant to be on this earth and the expression that you have. Because every single person has something unique that they were born to contribute to this earth. You have a responsibility to, and an obligation before God to manage and mature those talents and those gifts to bring them into the earth. So I'd say keep going, be courageous, and believe in yourself. Yeah. My name is Cate Williams, and this is Uplifting Studios.
What a powerhouse Cate Williams is, from a life of being bullied and cut down to standing firmly in her place and shining a light for other women. Now you see, Cate has also been that light for me. She has invited me time and time again to the Inspire Collective platform and given me a seat at the table and allowed me to share my message and to put my voice forward. And for that, Cate, I am truly grateful. Now, if you're watching this and you're struggling with self-limiting beliefs, and you're wondering how can you unshackle and begin to live a life that you were created for, I'm a life coach, and I work with women from underrepresented backgrounds, and I help them to unshackle those self-limiting beliefs and begin to live their lives with more purpose and more impact. So if you'd like to find out more about that, head over to upliftingstudios.com.au, and I can't wait to hear from you. My name is Anigishiru. Thank you so much for watching Uplifting Studios TV, and be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Until next time, take care.